Problem. Ooh,
What's
just
going
got the
on, boys?
notification.
Welcome to the Joe Throws podcast, episode number 5. I'm here with a very lovely guest and Matt Doherty. Matt, how we doing today, huh?
Joey Tampa, my man. I'm doing pretty good. It's a pleasure to be on the podcast.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure to have you on. I'm not going to introduce you um, for you. I'm going to have you do it. So why don't you just introduce yourself, man?
Absolutely. So my name is Matt Doherty. I'm originally from Gardner, Massachusetts. I am a six-year outfielder for the Linden Hornets baseball team. And yep, that's kind of the running gag here. I've officially reached unk status, but it's something I take I take a
Edible
lot of
Matty.
pride. I take a lot of pride in it, and it's something that I can always hang my hat on. But no, I've had a pretty long career, and the work's just getting started. I like to tell myself that every day. But
There you
no,
go.
that's pretty much who I am. So
Yeah. So tell me about like high school and just your story in baseball and what led you to come to Linden.
no, absolutely. So contrary to kind of popular belief, I wasn't really that great of a player in high school. I was kind of mediocre at best. I only had two home runs in my high school career. I was just more kind of like a strong contact hitter. I had a decent amount of RBIs. I could find a gap here or there, but I was just really inconsistent. But I don't know. I really started to kind of take it a little bit more seriously going into like my sophomore, junior year, and then senior year. I was like, you know what? We're just going to sell out and just kind of keep growing. I like to think of myself as kind of like a late bloomer, like especially when it came to like development. I didn't really start getting strong till like my senior year, and especially once I got into college. So I knew I was kind of lacking in that regard. I was always kind of a big, strong kid, kind of bigger and stronger than everybody else that I grew up with, but I was just missing a couple things on the just kind of like on the actual part of hitting. But no, that's pretty much it on the baseball side of things. But I don't know. It's been quite a journey thus far, and you know, 6 years in the making in college, and I've definitely come a long way from where I was. But if I can give myself some advice going back into like my sophomore junior year of high school, it's like have a little bit more fun. That's kind of the big thing. It's like I'm 24, man, and one of the things I'm still trying to figure out is like I take it very seriously, but I'm also trying to have a little bit more fun while doing it.
For sure, that's great stuff right there. That's huge. I do the same thing as well. I'm trying to do the same thing, Maddie. So what made you come to Linden? What was the thing, back in what was it, 2019, 2020?
Yeah, so I came to Linden in the fall of 2019. I discovered Linden my junior year of high school at a college fair, and I was really intrigued. I was talking with the representative at the time, and I was just looking at the brochures. I was looking at kind of like the pictures of the campus, and I'm thinking to myself, this place is gorgeous. And I ended up going on my first official visit. I think right towards the fall of 2018, and I ended up meeting some of my then teammates at the time. I met Matty Page. I met Ryder Thornton. I met another guy, Michael Pena, who was another good guy at the time. But no, I got to meet those guys, and I was able to establish myself just on my first impressions. I met my then coach, Reese Tangy, who recruited me. And I just remember I was walking with my parents at the time. I looked at my mom and I'm telling her, I can really see myself going here and excelling here. And she looks at me and she says, I agree. But like I didn't really have that much exposure. I didn't have that much interest from other schools going into like my junior, senior year. The only other offer that I had was I think it was a Division III school. It was Crown College in Minnesota. I remember
Hmm.
I was on the phone with that coach for a little bit. It was a private Catholic university, and I was like, you know what? Do I really want to drive or fly all the way out to Minnesota and just kind of take a chance? I mean, I was going to take a chance anyway because I didn't want to stay. I didn't want to stay in Massachusetts, even though Mass is the haven for Division III baseball and D3 sports in general. And I had so many options, within like an hour distance for me. But it's like I just want to get away from everybody. I wanted to get away from everybody. And I was like, you know what? This is going to be my opportunity to kind of like write my own story, and just everybody else can figure it out. and I'm just doing my own thing. So Vermont was kind of the best spot for me. It was the best fit academically and athletically, and I was committed like by my junior year, and I've just been rolling with it ever since. So that's kind of what led me coming to Linden, and I haven't regretted it ever since.
Yeah, I mean, that's beautiful right there. Obviously you've been here so many years, so you know basically everybody on campus, and everybody knows you. But like you just said, it's very special. But what makes it special about coming to Linden? What makes it so special whenever new guys come in? What do you tell those new guys about?
So honestly, the big thing about Linden is I like to tell people that this place is like a living, breathing postcard, especially like in the fall and in the spring. That's really kind of when the place is at its best. You got the vibrant colors of autumn. You got all the amazing sights. You got two different mountain ranges. We're up at elevation. It's gorgeous. So it's something that everybody from the Northeast, and I think almost anybody from around the world, just needs to experience. They need to come to Vermont. They need to kind of just experience the atmosphere. The vibes are completely different compared to like someone from coming up like out west or something like that. Funny enough, and even down south. I mean, you're a Florida boy at heart, so it's just kind of it's a different vibe shift coming into a state like this. But it's uh, it's gorgeous though. That's really kind of the thing. Like the term of the day, picturesque. It's a very picturesque scenery around here, and you just I could talk about it all day, but for anyone who hasn't been to Vermont, you generally just have to see it to believe it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, when I first came up here, it was beautiful. The weather, obviously, in the winter, it's not great, obviously, because even into March and April. But you know, you live, breathe, and die of baseball when you come up here. So,
You
so
end up
Maddie, what's
you end up having to find a way. So it doesn't
yeah,
matter whether it's nice and sunny or there's like 6 7 feet of snow on the ground. It's like it takes a different breed of ball player to come up here. And honestly, that's what I like to always kind of brag that like the Northeast ball players are generally a different breed because the guys that want it, they're going to go above and beyond the call of duty in order to get a job done. And if it means like having to get creative with drills, having to get creative with training compared to like, you Florida boys, your California boys that have like, you could play outside, 24/7, 365. It's like, we don't have that luxury, but if you
yeah,
want it, you're going to find a way. If there's a will, there's a way.
definitely agree with that. Yeah, I mean, so obviously, like what we just talked about with weather, what makes it different? Like what is even though it's cold outside, how do you always stay motivated? How do you always stay, disciplined? What keeps you going even when you're a Northeast baseball player? What advice do you have to the guys that, you know, want to come up here from the southern states or the western states in warmer weather?
I mean, one thing you got to know what you're signing up for. It's like you can't. It's a big culture shock, but you kind of intuitively need to know that your your environment's going to be 10 times different compared to like the warmer climates down south and out west. So you can't really have the surprise that it's going to be cold. Like no shit, it's going to be cold. Like no shit, it's going to be cold. No shit, it's going to be uncomfortable. But that's just kind of like it was just like the overarching message. Like you got to be comfortable being uncomfortable. We talk about that, about the game, but like for a lot of guys that are like, looking for their first out of womb experience going to college and traveling, thousands of miles, it's like you got to be uncomfortable in order to be comfortable.
Yeah.
It's like it's a process. It takes time. There's an adjusting period, and you just have to kind of let yourself just kind of roll with the punches. And you're not going to have it figured out overnight. The same thing goes whether you're a pitcher, you're a hitter, you're still trying to iron out some things, but like just life in general, it's like you need to be able to kind of just roll with it, let things happen as is, and just be able to kind of be adjustable on the fly. So it's just it's just more mindset than anything. And it starts with just kind of like having that conviction in if I'm actually going to do this, I can't have any surprises. And there's gonna be a lot of things I'm not ready for. It's like I said, you're not gonna have everything figured out on day one. You just gotta have an open mind, just deep breaths, and just let things come naturally. So that's kind
Yeah.
of the best advice I can give for anyone trying to come up to the Northeast from like down south or out west or any of those lovely climates that I wish I could be there for a lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's great. Obviously, kids need to understand that. But what talk to me about when you used to be a pitcher, obviously your freshman year into college. Talk to me about your first couple of years and, how it's different now. Like, how are you a different player than when you first got to Linden?
100% Joey. So I was a two-way guy when I originally came up here. I was primarily I actually came up as a first baseman, and I still love playing first base, like here and there. I'm a full-time outfielder now, but and I did used to pitch. I was a low submarine kind of guy, and funny enough, like I didn't have a lot of time to really kind of hone in on throwing submarine. I was messing around with one of my buddies from back home, and we were just throwing BP, and my arm just started to get tired. I just started like I just started dropping down and slinging it, and he was a catcher. I'm like, all right, a light bulb just went off in my head. Grab your gear and let's throw a little bit. And then I was like, you know what? I got nothing to lose here. And I threw a nice little 35 pitch bullpen, and I started to kind of get a little bit of a feel, especially like on the fastball.
Yeah.
That arm slot, the ball's running like a crazy person, arm side to righties, and I was
Hmm.
able to I messed around a little bit with the changeup, and breaking ball is interesting to say the least. It's definitely it's a very unique art when it comes to pitching because it's alien. It's very foreign, and you really gotta. It only took me 5 months, but imagine if I really kind of took that a little bit more seriously and actually committed like a year, 2 years into actually being a submarine pitcher. That would have been
Yeah.
interesting,
Yeah.
but
That would have been sick.
nah, it would have been sick. But I will say the highlight. I remember I started opening day in 2020, and I started as a DH, and I pitched a third of an inning, and we were playing Franklin College, and a really good Division III school out of Indiana, and I come into pitch. I think it was in the seventh, and I'm just lost. I'm lost just mentally, just because I started on so a little unfortunate. I mean, you know the story. I lost my mom to heroin during my first semester in college, and I ended up starting on her birthday. And I'm just like, Hollywood can't write any better scripts than that. And the first batter I face is one of their best hitters. He was a Midwestern All American. He had 15 home runs as a sophomore. Kid was disgusting. He had a home run earlier in the game. We're down 14-0, mind you. I strike him out on a high fastball, and I just let out the most loudest roar of my entire life. And the guys on the other bench are looking at me like I'm fucking crazy. And again, it's just like the emotions were running high. Ryder Thornton, I know he was on the pod earlier, and he was my catcher at the time. He didn't put down any signs. He knew what was going on. He knew the stakes. He just let me throw, and I didn't do, and there was no structure. I was literally just winging it, and I got that kid out. I was so happy. It's my only college strikeout as a pitcher, and I think I remember I hit two. I think I hit two or three guys after that, and then they took me out. And just like when I came out, like I came back to reality, and I was just like I started on my mother's birthday as a freshman, and I'm just like I'm just every all the emotions are coming back to me. Like I felt high, like I was just high on emotions, and I was just so emotionally driven. It's the most emotional game of baseball I ever played in my life. But no, I apologize for the ramble there, but
No, no,
there's
that's great, man. I love that. That was awesome. That's one of the best stories I've heard in a while. That was beautiful.
oh yeah, but no, just going back in terms of like just kind of like the growth, like for me, it hasn't been easy just because of that. It was a very traumatic experience, and I had a lot of guys, question if I was going to come back from my bereavement period. And I remember I was also Matty Bro. We talk about this from time to time. We had another kid in our freshman class who didn't make it with us, who was also going through some mental stuff at the time. And he's talking with the kid, and he's saying that, I'm going to come back highly motivated with a fire that burned brighter than when I first came in. And he was right. And out of our original, 2023 graduating class, I think there were 8 or 9 of us. Only think 4 or 5 of us ended up making it. Like we finished our careers, and I'm the original remnant of the OG class of 2023, so I'm kind of the outlier of the group. But no, it's been a very transformative. That's the word. It's been a very transformative experience for me, and I've been really kind of seeing myself kind of come into my own as a leader. And for me, it's like I like to see myself as kind of like an observant leader. God, you don't need to be like a drill sergeant or a rah cheerleader in order to be like an effective leader. And for me, it's just I like to kind of see things kind of like on the fringes, kind of let people just operate, and then I'll interject when I need to. Like I don't need to like make my presence known in every waking moment. That's just kind of how I like to operate. But no, from 2019 all the way to where I am now, I'm a completely changed man, and I've made a lot of sacrifices to continue to be in the position that I'm in, and I don't regret a single thing. So that's kind of the long-winded answer there, but no, the it hasn't been linear to say the least, but nothing in life is ever in a straight line. You're gonna have your peaks and your valleys, and it's just a matter of just how do you respond when you have a couple roadblocks in your way? Do you just either give up and walk away, or do you barrel right through it? And I chose the latter, and I barreled right through every obstacle I've ever had to go through.
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I mean, I've heard a lot of the stories, and I was talking to Nate Stewart, our coach, and he talked. We were talking, and um, he was telling me that a lot of guys didn't believe you were going to come back. After that awful time for you and your family. So how did you overcome like that? Did you ever have like that self doubt or like that failure, like even after, like even 2 to 3 years after the whole thing went down? Like, how did you deal with every at bat, every single time you saw people, every single time you're in the weight room? How did you deal with that that self doubt? Like, am I really going to keep doing this or am I not? You know?
Yeah, no, it definitely was a major adjustment, but for me, it just came down to kind of having those internal thoughts with myself. And it's like, she lived long enough to see me get into college. And the least that I can do is just, live the life that she always wanted for me. And for me, that was, playing baseball. That was getting my degree and just working on being a better man every day. And for me, like I sold out to that process. And like even on the days where I felt like I was at my low, I just always kind of took a step back and just reminded myself, it's like, she's watching over me every single day. And, she's always been kind of like the biggest extrinsic motivator in my life. And, honestly, like posthumously, that's the best gift she's ever given me. And, whether it's baseball, whether it's class, whether it's anything, it's like she's always been like a major influence. And it's it has been easy, and like I have my moments from time to time again, but they've been a lot more manageable. But it's definitely going to be more of a lifelong process, of course. But this is also kind of just kind of piggybacking off of our previous point. This is why Linden has meant a lot to me, because this has been the place where like I've come to my own as a man, and no one's ever going to take that away from me. And I can, for all the things that people will say about this place or about the future or any of the other political bullshit, it's like this place is special to me because this is where I essentially started over.
Yeah, man, that's great. Because I remember when I first met you, and I've seen the growth over the last 4 years, 3 years. I've been teammates with you for 3 years, and it's been unbelievable. But you know, that's great. Obviously, Lyndon's definitely changed a lot of people's lives in my eyes, and it changed me a little bit, but I see it. I see it a lot in you, and I see your growth into your 6th year of coach. But what's how have you always been just a hard worker? Because I remember when I first met you, and you were always sending me videos of you doing trap bar deadlift or squatting 505 or hitting off the tee or hitting in the cage, or you just always live, breathe, and die baseball. Is that always how you've been? Or how did that start?
Yeah,
It wasn't.
no, 100%. Like I remember my senior year of high school, like I would always walk out. I'd walk from home to my field, It's about like a 25-minute walk. I'd pack a suitcase full of balls, carry a tee over my shoulders, walk a mile, and just go back like every single day and just hit into the field. I didn't have a net, didn't have a lot of resources, and it's just like I wanted it more than anybody. And I kind of just adapted that, and I just kind of turned that into a routine, and it carried over by the time I got into college. And my senior year specifically, I knew compared to a lot of my peers that I was ready to go to college, and I was going to take shit a lot more seriously. Like I remember I was in the weight room, especially like with the football guys. Like the football players were out of season. I'm lifting with them. I'm getting bigger. I'm starting to kind of learn some things from them. Uh, I'm just spending a lot more time working on my throwing. I'm working on just every aspect of my sport and my fitness and my health that I can. And senior year two, I made a lot of sacrifices just to really kind of focus strictly on baseball. I remember I didn't go to prom with my girlfriend at the time. I didn't go on the senior trip. I didn't do a lot of things that a lot of people would do on their senior year. And it's like I just want to focus on my goal. I have like some pretty strong, ambitious goals to set forth in the future. And I was like, you know what? I don't need any distractions. And I just sold out on trying to achieve those goals. And for me, like it's kind of like played out in real time. And like I don't like again I don't regret those decisions I made in high school. Like all that stuff's immaterial to me at the end of the day. And I remember my last game of high school ball. I think we ended up losing that game. My last at bat, I had my final hit. I had an RBI double, and after that, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna get my finals done. I didn't even go to graduation at the time. I didn't walk for high school. I got my stuff in the mail. I didn't go to any scholarship ceremonies. I got a little over $6,000 in scholarship money from my school. Didn't wasn't there for the proceedings. I'm like, just mail it to me. Like, hasta la vista. Fuck you guys. I'll see you later. And I knew that I just wanted to get out, and everybody else can just you know, like it's nothing personal. It's just like I just wanted to just move on. I
Want
just
to
wanted to kind of get
change.
over. Exactly. It's like I felt like being in Mass and just being home where I was just kind of holding me back. It's like if I'm really going to kind of keep growing as a man and just allow myself to kind of live the life I want to be, I need to get out. And I was very happy when I did.
Yeah, man, that's great. That's good stuff. So, what's your favorite moment as a Linden Hornet? If you've already said one, if not, I'd be very curious about this.
No, 100%. There's definitely been some moments and highlights, just for me personally and just, being there for guys like on the team. I remember speaking of Florida, I think it was either your freshman or sophomore year when we went to Florida.
Freshman year,
Um,
yeah.
it was your freshman year. Okay. We were playing Finlandia,
Oh
and
yeah.
those guys. So Finlandia, unfortunately, they closed their doors a couple years ago. They're no longer in
Yeah.
business, which is a sad state of affairs. But those guys, they haven't won a game in 4 years, to the point like when they played us. I think they ended up having their first win like during that spring season in 2022,
Really?
which was cool. But
Yeah.
I remember I was in right field one game when we played them. I made an error, and I'm just here. That was also when I grew out the beard, by the way.
Yep.
And
Yep.
I was, I was hearing it from their bullpen guys, and it's like I'm hearing, Tarzan sold the fucking bag. I let a run score, and then I lead off the inning. I lead off that top half of the inning, and first pitch I see, I hit a ground rule double to dead center. I just hit the shit out of it. And I just look over at that. I just look over at those guys, and I just let out just the biggest fuck you. And I was just,
I think I remember
I don't know.
that.
I was like, I really want to just say, when was the last time you won a game again? But but no, it
Oh
was fun
man.
because just like it's like that's the beauty of baseball. It's like you can
Yeah.
make a mistake in one aspect and then clutch up in another, and like in literally in less than 2 minutes time between making that error, it's like I already kind of I already kind of made up for that with the bat. So I was pretty
Yeah.
happy with that. That was definitely a good moment. I think another major moment, honestly, was for me. I think honestly, just for me and the team, in 2022, that was also when I had a medical emergency that you
Yep. Yep.
remember. Yep,
Yep.
it was
Freshman
not
year.
a it was not a good time. I remember I was in the hospital following it was Husson. I think it was we were playing Husson that game. It was the first conference weekend.
Yep.
I'm with our assistant athletic director Tara Nelson at NVRH, and I'm watching the live stats, and I'm just looking at I think it was the seventh inning, and I see John Mahoney who hits a walk off home run. I'm looking at Tara, and I'm looking at one of the pretty nurses who's looking over me. I asked her to check my pulse because I'm just like, is this really happening? And then the
Oh
guys
man.
and I think the second game of that doubleheader, you guys lost, and I'm just like, geez, now I really wanted to text. It's like now you guys are literally killing me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, because it was good because it's like when you see someone of my my presence kind of fall down like that and just not be with the team. It's like I think that was kind of like a good extrinsic motivator to kind of like fire the guys up. It's like, we're playing to win. You're playing for the guy that would have killed to be there. And
Yeah.
that did me very well. And just I remember that whole season was a shit show, especially towards the second half when guys started to come down with COVID, which was
Yeah. That was a tough
unfortunate.
season. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I wish a lot of guys were able to get that season back, but it's kind of neither here or there at that point. But no,
Yeah.
those are definitely some big moments. Some highlights of the career thus far. But 2025 is going to be I think it's going to be a breakout year for everybody. I've been figuring out some stuff with my swing, and I've been getting a lot of reads off the machines. Really just focus on seeing velocity, seeing spin, just working on my moves, and let's just say live at bats this weekend are going to be pretty fun. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you this. What makes this year's team different than the other 5 years you were here? This is your sixth year, so yeah. What makes
I
this year?
think,
Go ahead.
yeah, no, not a problem. I think this year, I think guys genuinely want it. I think we were on the fringes last year, but I think it's just the energy is a lot more palpable compared to years past, especially like my freshman sophomore year where we were just kind of like bare bones. We only had 18 guys on the active roster. Now we got almost 40, which is insane to me. Like that growth over a couple years span is almost unheard of, especially like with a small Division III school in the middle of fuck nowhere. But it's just amazing to see, and Curler's done a great job with the recruiting and retention as well. We don't lose a lot of guys from the last couple classes, so it's been great to see the guys are genuinely in it for the long term. And I'm blessed to be in the position where I get to see these guys continue to grow, not as ball players but as young men. So that's what
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing how everything kind of pans out. But I don't see any reason why we have a pretty good year, and it's just all about execution. It's like the we've had a lot of close games. It's just a matter of just kind of taking care of business in the clutch moments, so we don't end up having to come down from deficits or kind of sell the game in the second or third inning. So
Yeah.
I'm feeling pretty confident. Guys are really taking their health seriously, their preparation seriously, and it's just an amazing thing to see. So collectively, I mean, we say it all the time: don't let the Hornets get hot.
Oh, Matt, you're an absolute pleasure. What's So I got a few more things to say.
Of course,
What would you say to your younger self as a kid? What would you say to your younger self from now?
to my younger self, again, I would just tell myself to kind of have fun. Just learn to have fun and find that happy medium between taking it seriously and enjoying every moment. For me, I've always been hardwired to kind of, just go all in, make sure I do everything perfect to the best of my ability. And sometimes when you're overthinking like that, you kind of get away from the why. And we talk about, what our why is. And a lot of us, because we love the game, and that's the thing. It is a game at the end of the day. And what's the thing about an A game? You want to fucking have fun. And if you don't have fun, it's like, why are you doing it to begin with?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like if I were to if I were to if I was to tell myself, 12, 13, 14 years old, enjoy it. Enjoy it, have fun, and just don't be too hard on yourself. Don't be too hard on yourself because you got the rest of your life to be miserable. You got the rest of your life to kind of just, drive yourself crazy.
Yep.
But I don't know. Like that's just kind of how I like to operate. I don't take shit for granted. So that's what's allowed me to be successful. But 100% just having fun and just kind of just enjoying every moment.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Um, so who's like your favorite teammates of all time from Linden? Who are the guys that are ride or die for you? Some fun questions. Can't all be serious.
No, absolutely no. I've had the pleasure of being with a lot of guys during my time here. Uh, there's been a lot of guys as of late that have I think would definitely fall into that category. But no, I think for me, definitely a lot of the guys that were in my original class. Coach Steve Frisha, for example. Matt Burrow, Tyler Murrow. Those guys, they were with me during my whole ordeal, and
Yep.
they've been my biggest support group during our tenure. And they've really helped me kind of get back on track in that regard. So I'll always be eternally grateful for them. And those guys will. I still talk to Matty Bro to this day. He's gonna be a lifer for me. But another guy that I really like to kind of give a lot of credit to is a guy by the name of Cody Smith. And you've probably heard the stories. His fifth year, he absolutely popped off, and one of the best. I think one of the other. This would probably be like a another moment. But we were playing Fisher one game. He had just hit a game tying 2-run home run in the top of the seventh, and
Mhm.
during a pitching change, he brings the outfields together. I'm playing left field. He's in center. We got Tyler Roberge right. He brings us together, and he says verbatim, "I hate to be sentimental with you fucks, but I wish I took this a lot more seriously." I'm barely 20 years old at the time, and I'm hearing this guy who's an established veteran openly admit that he wishes that he cared more and that he put a little bit more time into like being the best version of himself. And for me, that resonated with me because it's just like that's just kind of the man that I've always wanted to be. And here's a guy who let himself be vulnerable in the moment. And I'm just like, that takes a lot of balls.
Yeah.
And that hit me. And that's just kind of been like one of the major kind of like just the major foundations of my philosophy of not taking stuff for granted. The next thing I know, I see him, he's in the cage almost every other day. He's in the fitness center. And the next thing you know, he hits 478 with 7 home runs, drives in 35 runs or something like that. And he strikes out something stupid like 50 plus guys in 30 innings of work. And he ends up just capping off his career on a high note. And that's just seeing that growth from that game to the end of his career. It's like, wow. And that's something that I'll always reach out to him every year and just be like, hey, remember what you told us in Fisher, and we always have a nice laugh about it. But
Yeah.
it meant a lot to me in the moment, and I'll always cherish that from him. But no, Cody Smith was always the guy.
It's
But
great, man.
oh,
Yeah.
that's another good one. But no, I love everybody on our team and the teams have passed. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I love everybody equally. Some guys are more pains in the asses at sometimes, but you know what? It's all love at the end of the day. We're just a big family.
Yeah.
We're a high functioning kind of crazy family, crazy extended family.
Yeah, man. All right, I got one last thing, Doherty. What is your season goals? What do you for your individual?
That's a very that's a tough one. Honestly, I've been trying my hardest not to really kind of overthink about the stats and all that.
Yeah.
I've been more or less just trying to think about just focusing on my moves, focusing on just trying to keep it as simple as I can. I know I'm going to hit some balls out. I know I'm going to hit a lot of extra base hits. I know, like that's just kind of a given. but just it would be nice to hit close to 300. Be
Yeah.
nice to kind of double the home run totals, and that's all nice and all that. I
Don't
can't
want Evan
control
to
that,
catch
but
up to you, huh?
just trust me, I can't hold the record forever. And just for
Yeah.
context, I got 11 career home runs to my name. I hit 9 of them in the last 2 years alone. So, it's like it's fun.
Good stuff, man.
He's gonna be a great player. And you know what? Like I said, like even the best have to fall. So if he's the one to best me in the year or so, then you know what? I'm honored all the same. But I'm just trying to find a barrel. I'm just trying to be consistent and just again, if I be consistent, have fun, good things happen. If I stop thinking and
Yes,
just doing,
sir. Yes,
it's
sir.
gonna be it's gonna be it's gonna be a fun year, Joey. I can tell you that.
For sure, man. All I think about, that's my biggest thing is play it like it's your last game because you're not
hmm
thinking about anything except for having fun, like we've talked
hmm
about.
Everything that you've done in terms of like your mechanics, all that other stuff, like
Yeah.
all that goes out the door. At the end of the day, it's
It's all
nine
about
guys who
competing.
compete.
Yep.
All about competing. Yep. If you're not getting the job done when the lights turn on, then your mechanics and all that other stuff that doesn't mean anything. Like
Yep.
if you're not taking care of business in the moment, then what are you doing?
Yep. We got to win, Matt. You got to win. Got to compete and win.
Exactly.
All right, Maddie, I really appreciate this. Really appreciate you getting on. Absolute pleasure. If you want to hit up Maddie, I'll drop his links in bio. He's got a TikTok, he's got Instagram. I think he's got other stuff. But Maddie, thank you so much for jumping on the pod, man.
Absolutely, Joey. It's been a pleasure, my man.
Yes, sir. See you later, man.
I'll catch you.